Hello and welcome again to Real Magic, where real women just like you are creating real change, both in their personal lives and all over the globe. I'm your host, Kathy Forrest, founder of Celestial Forest Institute, and it is my great delight to be here today with Marguerite Rigoglioso. Marguerite, welcome.
Thank you. So great to be here, Kathy. Exciting.
Marguerite is the foremost authority on the history of virgin birth and has taught graduate and undergraduate courses both in the United States and the United Kingdom. She's the director of her own esoteric school, Seven Sisters Mystery School, dedicated to restoring knowledge about the sacred feminine, to empowering people on their own non-traditional spiritual journeys. She's the author of The Cult of Divine Birth in Ancient Greece and Virgin Mother Goddesses of Antiquity. And her most recent book, which is part of the reason we're here today, is The Mystery Tradition of Miraculous Conception, Mary and the Lineage of Virgin Births, which is the topic of our conversation today. And I love the way you worded the topic, become a womb powerhouse like Mother Mary. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to hear about all of your work. But first off, I really want us to dive into the Holy Womb Chakra. What is this and why is it so important?
Yeah. Well, this is a little known but critical chakra in the human body that we have learned about within the last 15 years, thanks to the late Hindu saint Sri Kaleshwar in India. And he was the one who went to India. He was living in India and he was going back and forth. He collected all of these ancient palm leaf manuscripts, which literally are written on the leaves of palms, tiny lettering with mantras and yantras, which are the sacred drawings and other esoteric information that is at least 7,000 years old, if not more. And among all of these manuscripts that he acquired or was synchronistically given, because people would find out that he was becoming a repository, he had suitcases of these things that his students saw. He collected especially all the teachings dedicated to this holy womb chakra. And where that is in the body, it's, he talked about it more as being a point of energy, which is an inch and a half below the navel, more or less, that resides in everybody, regardless of gender identification, which is the wonderful, inclusive aspect of this. Now, that said, women have the physical structure of the womb at birth, those who were born women at birth. And so that is interwoven with this Nada Bindu point. And so it makes them extra connected and powerful. People of other gender identities can continue to connect to the Holy Womb Chakra through that point, which is basically the portal that connects them back through their mother line and all the way into the interiors, into Mother Divine as the Holy Womb Chakra of all creation. So we're talking about a Shakti universe, a universe of female power, female creativity that is mirrored in a holographic form in the bodies of everyone, and particularly the women, because they then have the structure that will allow a child to come through. And that also gives them other extra powers if the woman knows how to clear and cleanse this area and re-empower it and strengthen it and protect it within this system, the various mantra prayers and the use of these visual symbols or yantras in various specific ways. So that's kind of like the short story of the Holy Womb Chakra. So it's kind of a portal, and it's, I think of it as going from the woman's navel all the way to the vulva, like encompassing like an overlay over what we traditionally see as the second chakra, which is more, a little bit further down between pubic bone and navel. Okay.
That's beautiful. Now, I have so many questions, more than what are on this little list. How did you find his work? I mean, to me, that feels like a magical experience because I know you've been studying a lot of these traditions for a very long time. How did he drop in?
Yeah, it has been a magical experience of being led.
Mhm,
I first heard about him through my teacher of this material, who was trained by Sri Kaleshwar directly, and
mhm,
she has participated in his various ashrams in Penakonda, India, and
mhm,
also in Laytonville, California, the Divine Mother Center.
mhm,
I had known about Cindy Lindsay through my colleague and friend Maureen Walton in Canada, who runs something called uh, oh gosh, why am I not thinking of it? Women's Sojourn. That's not what it is. I'll think of what the title is. But anyway, it's her own personal workshop space through
mhm,
which she has invited many teachers, and she teaches to do things related to the womb. She's been doing this now for many years. And she tuned in to the earlier work of Cindy Lindsay, which was looking at some of the South American Inca traditions that she had gathered all this information about and what they taught about the female womb.
mhm,
And I don't know if it's before or after Maureen had met her, but Cindy became involved. She connected with Sri Kaleshwar through a series of synchronicities and being led through people. And then she was really captivated to start studying with him, especially the womb chakra teachings. And she ended up spending lots of time. And then in 2017, she began to offer the teaching. She's certified. There are other certified teachers. I am one now. People who study with me through my class, the Holy Womb Chakra Teachings,
mhm.
which is really where the mother lode of all this information is, the repository.
Right.
You can get certified. You can get certified to teach this in your own circles or globally or whatever. So I saw in 2017 that I don't know if it was a friend who alerted me that these teachings were going on, and I read the description and I said, "Oh my, I must go there," because of course, as you said, I'm an expert in divine birth. So I have been looking at women's womb mysteries since basically the intuition hit me that divine birth was a real thing back in 2001.
Right.
So when I saw this course, I said, I've got to go there. It was in July 2017. I went up to Laytonville with some friends. We all took the course, and that was the beginning. But it wasn't a slam dunk, so to speak, at the beginning for me. I hesitated in getting involved with the mantras and the yantras. I said, do I really need this? La, 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 la. Well, fast forward to 2019, into the end of 2019, and all of a sudden I had a uterine problem,
Mhm,
cervical problem, not a cervical problem, a cyst problem on an ovary that really had me alarmed. And I got the message, you're going to be okay. We just want you to do those holy womb chakra practices. This was in
right.
consultation with Mother Mary, who's become a teacher of mine, a master teacher of mine, and a healer. And I was like, okay, and then I'm
Right.
like, like charging these mantras, which is, 101 day process, as
Right.
because you've been taking this.
Right.
And that's when I really went into it. And since then, since 2019, I've realized, oh, of course, no brainer. I'm going to come out with a new book on Mother Mary.
Mhm,
Mother Mary used these practices according to Sri Kaleshwar.
mhm,
And I really need to weave this into my understanding of divine birth, because these are sort of building blocks of being able to do divine birth, whether it's the way Mary did it, or whether it's the divine birth of a child with two people engaging in intercourse. And that is one of the practices that this system offers, right? So I really began to dive deeply. I did the whole process of purifying the womb. And now I feel really happy about that, because it's a total piece, an integral part of what I'm doing. And I
mhm,
feel that it gives me the authority to be able to speak about this, because I now have these energetic processes within me integrated,
yeah,
and the clearing has been accomplished.
mhm,
So it's really supporting me in everything I'm doing, so
mhm,
that I can support other women and men. Some men have taken this material. in the clearing of their womb chakras, and then the further empowerment of it, of what this practice does for you.
Well, I'm very intrigued. I want to hear, how did Mother Mary use her holy womb chakra to conceive Jesus?
Yes. So, Sri Kaleshwar said that there was material in these ancient palm leaf manuscripts, and that they came to us from the rishis, the Sapta rishis, the 7 rishis, and then there was a particular rishi that was named. So this is really interdimensional knowledge.
Right.
And what I find is that in the Hindu tradition, at least in one tradition of it, these Sapta rishis were married to the 7 sisters of the Pleiades. So I see this as like Pleiadian knowledge, but ultimately it goes all the way back to Mother Divine.
Mhm.
So Sri Kaleshwar was working with those manuscripts and what it said. I think he said that Jesus had written some of these manuscripts, possibly Mother Mary, but Sri Kaleshwar also had past life recall of being with and walking with and advising even the Holy Family.
Mhm.
So he has a particular timeline of how things went and information that he's received intuitively, directly, which he has written in his own book, The Real Life and Teachings of Jesus Christ, which is a really fabulous volume that you can get through a European publisher.
Mhm.
And what he says about Mother Mary, and what I expand upon in my Holy Womb Chakra teachings that people can take, is that 2 things. First of all, Mother Mary had many, many lifetimes, and this was the final lifetime in which she achieved full goddesshood. She ascended.
Mhm.
And so that meant that many of her lifetimes were spent doing these devotions and these practices. And they included the mantras and the yantras. Okay. And there's even a mantra that you can use to merge with Mother Mary's womb. And then there's the mantra that Jesus was using in order to gain back his Siddhic powers, his miraculous powers. And that mantra is, I find refuge in the heart of my mother, meaning Mary. So, it's all very connected. And Sri Kaleshwar said that Mother Mary had a whole practice of meditation. She would sleep from, 11 to 2 a.m. And then from 2 until like 6 a.m., she was involved in different meditations, connecting with the astral realms, conversations with Mother Divine, probably doing the mantras and working with the yantra images and so forth. So she knew how to do this. And she conceived Jesus, I think through various of these related means. Okay. Now he doesn't talk a lot about that, but enter my book, which gives you the codes and the information, that book, The Mystery Tradition of Miraculous Conception, Mary and the Lineage of Virgin Births, which you mentioned.
Mhm.
I go into the evidence of exactly how she conceived Jesus.
Mhm.
And then Sri Kaleshwar picks up with how she taught Jesus when he was in the womb. So she was continuing to do those in the middle of the night practices, talking to the angelic presences and then delivering that information directly into Jesus. So she was his first and primary teacher, not
Absolutely.
only before his birth, but afterward, when he was a child going into adulthood. He always found refuge in her. She was his teacher, she was his confidant, and Sri Kaleshwar said she was his soulmate.
Mhm.
And so I go into more about that and how she used these processes and these high yogic abilities to resurrect Jesus through her womb chakra as well. And that's in my class.
Wow. Wow.
That,
So,
I should say, that material though, Kathy, is in a separate course because there's so much that I have to break it up.
Mhm.
That material about Mary
Mhm.
is in the Mother Mary Mystery Teachings,
Right.
which people can also take through my website. Okay. So these are all companion courses to explain and create like the complete protein, along with my book and another course that I teach that I have online, the Divine Birth Mysteries audio series,
Mhm.
just to tell people that today, you know, we can give them a taste, and my free gift will give them a little bit more of a taste, plus a tool to get started on the holy womb chakra.
Right, right.
But they can go much further and deeper.
Mhm.
It's all available now through what I've been offering. Yeah.
So can you explain to us a little bit, what are the tools and techniques that we use to clear that aspect of ourselves?
Yes. So, you know, this is a shock to a lot of people, and it was to me when I took the Holy Womb Chakra teachings from my teacher, Cindy Lindsay.
Mhm.
And I got there and I realized, oh, she's teaching us mantras. Oh, you know, I'm like, I'm a Western person. I'm not one of those people who goes into the Hindu trip, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Well, you know what? When I started getting the nudge from the universe, as I explained a bit earlier, I realized, no, these are really powerful tools, because see, what happens is these are in Sanskrit. The Sanskrit syllables are automatically connected to vibrations. They create vibrations, and the pieces of them and some of the syllables themselves connect you with the angelic realms.
Mhm.
So when you are saying these mantras, whether you're saying them quietly, silently, out loud, even if your mind is drifting off, do, 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 you know, you are pulsing the universe from you. You are like a transmission station saying, wow, go change realities and come back to me. They are powerful. They are worth doing. And I really, you know, had to come into acceptance of some level of commitment to it. And then the yantras, the drawings that Kaleshwar found on these ancient palm leaves, that one of the holy womb chakra itself, it's this fantastical image that is amazing. And then the mother of that, which is the Sri Chakra yantra, not the Sri yantra with all the downward and upward triangles, but a different one, which is the mother of the holy womb chakra. And so you use both of those. And there's even a third one, the universal womb chakra. That's a whole other set of teachings, because they kind of go on. You have them in your room. You learn how to draw the holy womb chakra one. You have it at your altar. You have it in your bed, over your bed at night, over your head. They start emitting pulses. You can put these in the rooms of children that are having troubles, or that are starting to go through their hormonal stage, and you know, they need some calming, that kind of thing. And they are things you can give as gifts to others to transmit that energy. So we're talking about two-dimensional ways and sound vibrational ways to affect into fifth, sixth, and seventh dimensions.
Yeah. Wow. So, and I totally appreciate what you said about chanting. I know that a lot of people in the Western world think I'm a nut because I get up and do that every morning. And I was sharing with you before we got on today that I've been doing Hindu chanting for years. It's just what resonates with me. But this particular chant and all of the processes, so powerful, probably more powerful than anything I've ever done. So I'm very impressed and excited to continue that
Well,
work.
you know, that's an amazing testimonial right there, because you have been associated
Mhm.
with different traditions that have
Mhm.
used mantras, and you can feel the difference and the power of this particular set of them.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
know, I always tell people taking the class, you can do it in chunks, or you can only do one of them. You know,
Mhm.
you don't have to do the whole series now or ever.
Mhm.
And you can wait, and you can take the class and still get the benefits of the
Mhm.
transmissions just from the class.
Right.
And then you can decide down the road whether you want to engage or to
Mhm.
what level, right?
Right. And in the class, I know that you offer, there's one of those where you give examples and you just sit and chant with your students. And that was so beneficial to me
Yes.
because it really, that alone, if all they wanted to do is just go listen to that, that's going to, put that sound vibration in their field.
That's right. You
So,
could turn it on and have it, you know, on looping. um,
right.
and I felt it was important to teach people how to go through the entire sequence,
Mhm.
because I didn't have that. And I kind of had to put it all together myself. And I thought, I'm going to make this as easy peasy as possible for
Right.
people to jump in. Like there's no obstacles
Mhm.
for them to feel like I couldn't find the information. I didn't know how to string it together. Right. No,
Mhm.
it's all there. It's really, really done for you. So you just have to commit to a few things and then jump into the process.
Right. So I'm intrigued. So, in the West, we know that we are taught that Mother Mary had an immaculate conception, but we're not taught that anyone else does that or did that. Is that a thing? And do you write about that in your book?
Oh, I absolutely do. I mean, I talk about Mary and the lineage of virgin births, and there are
Mhm.
lineages of them. She was in one such lineage from the line of the King of David, King
Mhm.
David, but
Mhm.
there were many lineages throughout the ancient Mediterranean world and beyond, North Africa, um, up across Asia into India. Uh, the Americas have divine birth stories of miraculously born the peacemaker of the Haudenosaunee. This story is deep, and it is a practice that was going on worldwide. I think it has been largely veiled. I don't know, and I'm hoping to find out if there are unbroken lineages in this practice, but I do know of women who have had the experience happen to them
Wow.
through different ways.
Mhm.
And some, all of them were cultivating one kind of spiritual practice or another. Okay.
Mhm.
So, yes, virgin birth is in my reality a real thing.
Yeah.
And I show how Mary accomplished it.
Mhm.
I show some of the tools and techniques that we are shown in her suppressed gospel that the Catholic
Mhm.
Church rejected as official, but they took their feast days of Mary
Mhm.
to that from it. And in the Eastern Orthodox tradition, they used it actually in liturgy, but it's called the Infancy Gospel of James. And it's James who was one of Joseph, Mary's companion's previous sons. So
Mhm.
he's basically eyewitness to all of what was going on. And he is able to provide what I think is mystical information about what happened so that anybody with eyes to see, which I was able to do because of my first two books, The Cult of Divine Birth in Ancient Greece and Virgin Mother Goddesses of Antiquity, I had collected all the codes and symbols and understandings of what was going on. And so that when I looked at Mary's suppressed gospel, I was stunned. I thought, oh my goodness, I know what all these symbols mean. I know what is being described. I know how to make sense of this for people. And so that's where I've come forth with the book.
That is so yummy. So, how does this relate to, in recent decades, we hear a lot about Mary Magdalene, and how does this relate to her and her
Yeah.
gospel, even?
Well, it's really important because what I talk about in my class, the Mother Mary Mystery Teachings, and what I'm going to be writing about in a new book, a future book, is that first of all, Mother Mary was Mary Magdalene's teacher. She was the master teacher.
Mhm.
She was also Mary Magdalene's mother-in-law because I do subscribe to the idea that Mary Magdalene and Jesus became married or were partners and had at least one child together.
Mhm.
I believe that that conception of Mary Magdalene's and Jesus would have been done in a sacred way, perhaps with the mantra sequence that is taught in the Holy Womb Chakra practice, as well as other things that they knew and were learning about conception and so forth. So that is very interesting to think about because for a few decades now, we've heard about Mary Magdalene coming out of the shadows, right? The veil being lifted on her. There have been many academic and other types of books written about her. The Da Vinci Code movie kind of put it all together in a very fascinating way as well. But the veil was kept on Mother Mary. And so now, with this new book, The Mystery Tradition of Miraculous Conception, that veil is coming off. We are now able to bring Mother Mary into the light and show her in her appropriate relationships to Mary Magdalene and Jesus. Okay. She was the master, she was the mother. So, in doing this, we restore the mother. We not only restore the priestess, which is Magdalene, and the tantric lover, which is Magdalene, but we restore the mother who's the governor of all of this and the divine birth conduit par excellence.
Oh, that just gives me chills. Oh, this is so exciting. And you know, I'm just excited to have you share it and broadcast it to the world in this way, because this is the way we get it out there to the masses. So
thank you so much, Kathy, because the truth of it is, I began teaching this at least as early as 2010. I began teaching about Mary's divine birth, Mary as a divine birth priestess. I had a course going on my website. I taught some workshops here and there, but it wasn't the time for it to come out, and it needed an accessible book about it. My previous two books are a bit more academic, so they hit their audiences, but it wasn't like, wow, lots of people who don't want to deal with footnotes, you know.
right.
But this book is much more accessible and readable, and I made sure to write it in a way that people could listen to and hear. And I also have an audio version of this, which gives the audio transmission. But it has taken until now for me to write it. I was, writing this in 2019. I went on sabbatical from my school specifically to write this. And now I'm seeing the wisdom of this timing. First of all, I had to go through my own healing crisis with my womb to be able to embody the teachings of the Holy Womb Chakra.
Right.
And I needed to work with Mother Mary more personally, as a personal emotional healer for me as well, and a mentor model, and a healer and a teacher of forgiveness, and to try to embody these things, so I'm not just a scholarly mouthpiece, but attempting to approach an advanced, a more advanced state of consciousness, right? So number one, that needed to happen, and number two, the world needed to get to the place where it is right now, in crisis, in order for people to be, number one, still enough to be able to hear that this book was coming out, which a lot of people still are. We're still in quasi isolation as of this recording. And people are also waking up en masse to the reality of other dimensions of consciousness, right? And the fifth dimension and the new earth and so forth. And so it's now time that the book can come out and be heard and seen.
Yes. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. And I love the sequencing. You can't really beat divine planning, right? Just that Mary Magdalene is the one that comes out first, but now she's opening the gateway so that people can actually hear the Divine Mother in a way they've never heard her before. So,
yes.
oh,
and I have to say, it's stunning to me to see responses to the book, because we, at the end of each chapter, I invite people to comment on the on the Seven Sisters Mystery School Facebook page.
right.
So people are,
Mhm.
and also any podcast or posts that I put out, and I'm just stunned at what they're saying. Spontaneously, people are putting on Facebook, I just got this book, I just ordered this book, my mind is blown. And I'm like, okay, this is what I knew could be possible 10 years ago. But again, it had to wait until now. But now that I've lowered my expectations, I'm so pleasantly surprised at how it's being received. It's really speaking to people.
Yeah.
Women about their own wombs. This is not just a historical document, right? This is about becoming the womb powerhouse.
Right.
In ingraining these Holy Womb Chakra teachings into yourself, so that you too can become a master healer, a master creator, whether it be of children or projects or whatever, a master connector into the other dimensions of consciousness.
So timely. I mean, I'm just thinking about the potential, because all of us know the earth is in need of some help right now. And wow, we can empower ourselves to do what we need to do through doing these practices.
Absolutely, because a cleared womb is the greatest gift you can give to the planet, because of what will happen in your life that you will be able to do and emanate for the planet and for other people and for yourself. Okay. Yeah. It's a connect the dots trust thing that you may see some direct results and synchronicities, And it also may be that you're going to be trusting that it is having ripple effects that you may or may not see.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. So talk to us about your free gifts because you're offering some really juicy ones.
That's right. Well, the first one is related to this,
Mhm.
and it was the free call that I did to help people understand the Holy Womb Chakra teachings more deeply and get a little taste of them to decide if they wanted to enroll. But it's a great standalone video itself, whether you go no further, because it will do something powerful to connect you with your mother. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's called Discovering the Secret of the Holy Womb Chakra. And I know you're going to be posting,
Mhm.
making available the link where you
Mhm.
go to that page and you can scroll and just register for that
Mhm.
call. And you
Mhm.
can also see more of the material about the Holy Womb Chakra
Right.
teachings. Okay.
Right.
And then the other free gift is you'll find it on the homepage of my school, and it's called Enter the Mystery Teachings Audio Bundle. And that gives you 3 conversations that I had. Um, Signs that you may be a priestess and what this what this means and why the world needs you now.
Mhm.
What is this business about divine birth?
Mhm.
All about. Okay. And then I have a third one there that I'm not remembering right now, but it might come to me. But there is a third conversation. So it's like 3 really nice conversations that start getting you into this material and already lifting veils,
Mhm.
off your eyes and helping you to start connect even with your own brilliance and own knowing.
Right.
Because basically all of this stuff is just helping people to remember what they know, what they already knew, what they know from past lives, what they can access from the Akashic records. It's not necessarily creating, anything. It's just putting you in touch with the Sophia wisdom of the universe so that you can bring it into your life and incorporate it and manifest it into a beautiful life for yourself.
This is so perfect. So all of our listeners, I know, have been getting the nudge that it's time for all of us to begin doing our sacred work. And I feel like this is such a potent tool for people when they're getting ready to launch. This is a really good way to empower themselves. Is there any parting words you'd like to share with our listeners about doing the work or being in that place of, I know it's time to jump and I don't know what to do?
Right. I would say go where you're being led, where your fascination is leading you, because there's so much available online now. If you just do Google searches or you hear from friends or you're watching one YouTube and you see posts about another, go into the fractal. You'll be led to your material that you need. You'll be led to mentors who can help you. Okay. And people can book sessions with me as well, because I will help guide people specifically to their situation. We go in to an intuitive reading
Mhm.
for them that really pinpoints and gets it more directed.
Mhm.
And so, find your mentors.
Mhm.
Find your
And
mentors.
they can find you if they want to use you as a mentor, they can find you on your website.
Yes, 7sistersmysteryschool.com. And
Mhm.
the 7 is written out, SEVEN.
Mhm.
And there's a link to
Mhm.
book or, inquire about a session with me.
Sure.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Marguerite. This has been so informative and insightful. I so appreciate you coming on with us today.
You're welcome, Kathy. I'm really grateful and honored to be here. And I just send a blessing to all of those who are going to be watching.